Welcome to the Mind Body Business Collective. I'm Michelle Krause, and I own Vital Fitness Holistic Center, and this is Heather.
And I own a couple of businesses, including Terra Firma Marketing and Silly Walks Pet Services is what I'm calling my pet services business. The book last time, you may have caught another video, we were looking at the Magnesium Miracle by Dr. Carolyn Dean. We mentioned that our next book was going to be You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero. Michelle and I read this probably last year. And
This time last year.
Yeah. And we got we got a lot of information from this book that isn't necessarily groundbreaking, you would say, but the language Jen Sincero uses is very down to earth and modern versus a lot of other people. She gives a perspective that's very interesting. So
and I like the stories and that she relates it to your everyday. There were a couple things that were really big for me in the book. I have a very hard time, like when people say to you, if you won $1 million, what would you do? I would still do what I do. I do body work and I love working with people and I love what it does for people and I know what it did for me, and any amount of money can't take away, pain unless you're, going through other things and finding out ways to get rid of that. And so for me, I know that I can do that for people. And one of the things that she did in the book that I didn't care for, and so she definitely gives a lot of different ways, and that's what I liked, because she wanted us to create a mantra. And when we were discussing the book in our group, I wrote a mantra and I never did it. I tried every once in a while.
And I did. That's so funny.
Yeah, when she said it, as I was listening to it, I would say my mantra, and I was like,
I remember doing it.
It's painful.
I had never done a mantra before, regardless of how many books I've read and how many times I was told to do it. And she encouraged me to, she encourages you through the use of real life situations to really see what your potential is. And so I did a mantra, and I don't remember what it was, but I think within a week of me just thinking it, she tells you to say it out loud or whatever, but I would consciously think of it pretty regularly. And I remember what it was. I was having a really bad cough at that point, and this is the most bizarrest usage of this, but I kept telling myself, you do not cough, you do not cough, you do not cough, because it was it was a type of cough that wasn't necessary for a health reason. It was just a habit that I had formed because of my allergies and everything. And I kept telling myself that, and within a week I stopped coughing. So, it wasn't a groundbreaking, large-scale life mantra, but just even the smallest ones, how you want to change your life can really help.
Well, what's funny about the whole thing is that the reason that we, in our group, started reading the book is that I did not have a good relationship with money. And it wasn't about not having money. It was, I realized when reading the book and really taking it in that my issue, and this I got from another program, is that my little thing in my head is I'm not worth it.
Yeah.
And that was huge for me, that the reason why when the group said, what's the next book that we're going to read, I said, it's everything in me to tell you the name of this book that somebody just told me, because I really don't want to read it. Mm-hmm. So I really need to.
Yeah.
And that's why that was so huge.
And that's something she really talks about a lot. Some of you may have read her other book, You Are a Badass. This by no means is a sequel. There are a lot of things. I've did the audiobook of You Are a Badass. There's a lot of commonalities. There's a lot of commonalities between the two books. But what she does in this one is she focuses a lot more on our individual relationships with money and how things that have happened in the past can affect your thoughts around money. So growing up, my family was very middle class. My mom worked 60, 70 hours a week in a manufacturing distillery facility, and my dad was Air Force. And so for us, money wasn't something we had an abundance of. We had enough to take a vacation every year. We had enough to, do family-oriented things. But I carried that mentality through my life. I went to community college before I went to university because I wanted to save money and be practical. When we got married, it was about, all right, well, I would love to have this big fancy wedding, but I can't, spend $200,000 on a wedding like some of my friends have. But I could spend enough money that would make me happy and make some concessions in order to achieve what I wanted. So my whole life was about being responsible and being logical. And so, one of the things I learned about this is that my mentality may not be right or wrong about money, but that I need to be able to recognize that I do have root feelings about money. Is it I'm not worthy? Is it I'm never going to make that much money? Is it I'm happy with where I'm at, so I don't need more money? It's a very interesting way of thinking about your relationship, because one of the things she talks about is your thoughts around money are one of the things that holds you back from being successful. And so,
I also am a giver.
Yes.
And I am in a business that I give, and so therefore I would always, just come on in, and she's
given me more than one free massage. Well,
you do, but we kind of barter.
Yeah,
we just don't, but it's an unspeakable barter. But when Jen Sincero talks about that, she says, don't give it away, and I started relating it to the whole, like, how many times do you go and get your oil changed in your car, and you pay money for that, but you don't pay money to preventatively take care of your body?
Yeah.
And then she makes a comment, she says, if you really check to see the value of your business, drive in the area where you live and drive in the area that you work. And when you're driving through the streets, think about, what I do, does that give value to this community? Mm-hmm. And can this community afford to pay for this?
Yeah.
What are they, and then I think she even brings up, what are they paying at Starbucks? How much are you seeing on social media that people are paying for things that they could choose to cut back on?
Absolutely.
And that was huge for me. And as I was driving through the local neighborhood where we are right now, I was looking at the McMansions, and I'm like, but I still stuck true to my gut, and that's what I think is true about any book that you read, is that I was like, I really don't want to outprice, because I really do want, like you're saying, I came from a middle-class family too, and a working family, and I don't want other people to not be able to do my services. So there's something about charging enough that you're comfortable, and not too much that you don't get the clientele that you want to. Yeah. And so then I went to Bali, and that's when it really hit me.
Well, part of that is, what your life plan is and what your values are, and not trying to exceed and take advantage of people monetarily based on what your lifestyle is. So if you are comfortable with your lifestyle and you're comfortable with how much you make, there's nothing wrong with that. And that's where I think she pushes the envelope a little bit, because she really encourages people to, really go for it and jump into the deep end with the valuing yourself thing. It's instead of being as down to earth and open-minded.
Well, and I was going to say, I wonder if she would say, well, then I would encourage you to raise your rates and then give a sliding scale or whatever to other people so that you can afford to do that, and I kind of,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that just really opened my eyes. And then, like I said, then when I went to Bali, and we were in the taxi, and our driver was driving us around, and I was looking at everything there, and I was told to bring cash and bring a ton of ones to tip. And we went to the most ancient village in Bali, and I was thinking about, like, could I live here? Could I work here? And take the rate, because the rate for body work in Bali is so much cheaper than it is here. And I definitely found myself, I tipped the same in Bali that I would here when I got body work done. I tipped the same, like if I bought my girlfriend lunch, and I think that we spent $11 on this huge lunch, and I tipped the way that I would for a $30 meal here. So of course everybody was really happy, but I had an expectation of spending a certain amount of money, and I didn't even reach that there.
Yeah.
And I just found that fascinating, the difference of the value of a bill, like just something, and was really looking at how much more do I want to make to be able to travel. And I always semi-did this, but I will view a client as a bill. My patients are a bill. It's like if I, rotate through, like I used to have a lot more regular, but now they cut back more because they're feeling better. And I used to look at them saying, well, if this person comes in once a month, that's my phone bill, And I started looking at it the same with the book, but looking at it as, well, if I pick up this many more, this is my trip here. And and then starting to really put money away for savings and stuff for trips.
Yeah.
So I love that. Which is what she talks about when she does the California thing.
Yeah. She has a whole story in here. She lived in California, but she wanted to move to the beach and be closer to the water. Yeah. And she talks about how she manifested that lifestyle for herself a little at a time, which started with her just spending every waking minute in the area of town where she wanted to live. And then eventually she was able to start small and live below the... Which
is really funny story.
Yeah.
For anything else.
Yeah, I'm trying not to give too much of it away, but she decided to take accommodations that she might not have otherwise taken, or that any other normal person would have agreed to, but it was because she knew that it was her first opportunity to have the life that she wanted to live.
Well, and Heather and I both talked about, we really wanted to share a story with you in the book, not the whole story, but neither of us could remember what the point to the story was, but the story itself is so funny. It's about a goat. And so I did want to make sure that we brought that up, that if for anything else, listen to it for the stories because it's so funny. But I mean, my relationship with money was, I went through a divorce, and I had 2 kids under 2 years old when I went through the divorce, and I had nothing, and I was dating a millionaire, and I look at where my life has been with money and where those thoughts came from.
Yeah.
And that's what the book really lets you do, is it lets you see... one, it helps you to see what your value is. It helps you to see what others can value you as, which I think is so important. We don't always look at what, listen to what other people are saying. I think that's so important. And
well, especially in a world where everything is being commoditized and everything is lowering the price point. Just in marketing alone, you can find a company that you pay $99 a month and they do all your social media. That's probably not the best use of your $99, but you are getting something for that value. Whereas there are other people that are quite a bit more expensive, but they have a different value, a different set of skills. And so when you are someone in marketing and you talk about your prices with somebody, everyone you talk to says, I can find that cheaper somewhere else. I can find that cheaper somewhere else.
And not to bash Groupon, because I use Groupon and I think it's a great thing. I'm not really big on using it all the time.
Yeah.
But we are a fitness facility as well. We have personal training and all of that, and we are one of the only places in the area that does not do Groupon. Now we do specials here and there, but I have found almost every single place in the area has been on Groupon forever.
Well, and your
how they bring
fitness
them in.
Clients are very loyal, and they are willing to pay money for the results.
Yeah, we're referral only too, for the most part. I mean, that's where we get most of ours. We don't really pay any outside advertising, and that's what I see the Groupon as. But then she talks about that in the book, is then you're bringing in people that are discount minded.
Yeah.
And so who is your clientele? My clientele isn't really discount minded one way or the other.
Yeah.
they are just ready to feel better.
Yeah.
And, you
And
know,
they're willing
because
to
of
pay
it being
that.
therapeutic, yeah. And then I try to help them do things on their own, and I try to really, when I talk to them about it, the more you do on your own, the more you save money, because I know that next person that comes in the door is usually going to be referred by that person. And I think, you know, and I think that's important. But so I still go back and forth a little bit about my prices. I ended up not necessarily in a sense raising my prices, but changing my thoughts on things. And so that's why when Heather and I did this, we talked about reading the book again, because it might be a good time to go back, because it is such a hard topic.
And for me, I'm going to be honest, my prices are higher than some people, small businesses are willing to pay for. And I'm okay with that, because I have an extensive marketing knowledge from working with Fortune 500 companies and advertising agencies and media brands that you would know. And I value that knowledge. People in the world need to begin to value understand that they're not paying for the service, they are paying for the knowledge base of the person. And so my knowledge base is more than 10 years. I have multiple degrees, and you're paying for that. And so from that perspective, when it comes to my marketing, I stand by my pricing. And
so interesting you say it that way, though.
Yeah, but then there are other my pet services. My rates are much lower, because I even though I have lots of experience with animals, I'm not a person who has been doing dog walks or cat visits for 20 years. And so my rates are lower. I'm consumer based, and I'm a little bit more competitive with my rates on that. And I'm okay with charging less money for one thing than I would for a different service.
Well, and my view on it is a little different with what I do. And I totally agree with your social media. I spend about $10,000 a year on education every single year, and I've been in business for 15 years. But I look at it as I don't want to price people out, because of the fact that, especially in the beginning, they're going to use it a lot more. But I also would still do these classes. And so for me, it's the love of the education as well, because I can also use this with my family, with my friends.
Yeah.
And so it's really, this is one of the things that it brought about in our masterminds group, is that we
I remember
really
you literally, right after we read this book, I remember you signed up for another class because it had been a little while.
7 classes.
Well, and it had been a while, and you took out a calendar and you were like, I'm signing up for all of these classes, because you felt like it had been a while since you had invested in yourself in that way.
Yeah, it had been like 2 years, and I usually take at least 1 to 2 a year. And then after that, I ended up spending $10,000 easily on classes, because my trip to Bali was even a class too.
Yeah.
So
she's been very busy.
But yeah, I mean, it depends on what it is that you're doing, and if you're working with big companies. And to me, if a big company were to come to me, then my prices would be different too.
Yeah.
If they were to say, look, we want to invest in our clients, or our, our employees, and we want them to work more efficiently, I would definitely not look at them the same way as I would look at, I have a 65-year-old client who's retired, and she's continuously referring me other people that are the same age.
Yep.
There might be a time that I'll say, oh yeah, that's on me, don't worry about it, and I love being able to do that. But it definitely, the book definitely helped me really value what I'm doing. And my husband and I, we own the business together, and we both had talks about it. He started listening to it. The only real issue that I had with the book is the fact that she says ain't. I don't mind the cussing.
Yeah.
But the ain't, that was the other thing though. I couldn't listen to it with the little one in the car. I was like, ugh. Like I'd have to put an earbud in and listen to it. But I have been taught when I was a kid not to use the word ain't. So that would just, and I was
definitely
like, oh, I need to get
not
over that.
a writer for people who enjoy very proper English.
No, yeah.
But that being said,
which sometimes makes it fun. I mean, You gotta be honest.
Yeah,
When she
yeah.
says something and you
It
find
brings
your
it down
mind
to earth.
wandering, and then you're like, oh, I need to come back to this.
It brings it down to earth.
Yeah.
Well, all in all, we enjoyed this book. You can see I'm, much dog-eared and highlighted. We would recommend anybody to read it. We would welcome any questions about it. And we look forward to seeing what you guys think about You Are a Badass at Making Money by Jen Sincero.
And what are we working on right now so that we can do a...
We've been working on several books.
So we don't know what you're going to hear next about.
No.
I'm listening, and this is funny because I always forget the name. I'm listening to Indistractable, really learning how distractible I am.
Well, we just read the
And
Brene
then-
Brown book. If you
What
want
was
to talk
it?
about, I don't remember the title of it. We love Brene, so we.
Yeah, but there was another one too that we picked up on that Whitney talked about.
Oh,
What
that's
was
the power.
Because I'm still trying to
Profit.
download it so I can listen to it. But
by Dr. Gwen Smith. She has
Okay.
a book. But anyway,
yeah, so we
will let you know.
We don't know what we're gonna bring you. What is it? The Power of...
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh.
I have it sitting on my counter at home.
I have like 7 books in my phone right now, so
but
I'm
we
definitely an audio
will let you know
books
which
girl.
one we will present next in the comments or the description. And
Yeah, that's a good idea.
and
And you can find me at vitalfitnessholisticcenter.com.
And I am terrafirmamarketing.com.
And we are...
.co. Sorry.
And
C-O.
Heather has no name. She's like my unsung hero of helping me with the Holistic Chamber of Commerce, and I am the president of the
Yeah.
Severna Park Holistic Chamber of
Yeah.
Commerce. So,
I just call myself a senior member.
oh yeah,
And
that's
we'll
a good
see
one.
how that-
Well, you are a founding member.
Yeah, I am a
So,
founding
yeah.
member. Of
Senior founding member.
Okay. Anyhow.
So yeah, we don't know which we're going to bring you next, but we probably have 5 or 6 to choose from. So we hope that you join us, and we really enjoyed being able to bring the You're a Badass at Making Money with our Mind, Body, and Business Collective podcast, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.